when did you hear Jesus calling you to the priesthood? Like, when did you hear his voice? Or when did you receive your calling? It's a question I've been asked multiple times. It always makes me laugh and smile, if not externally, definitely internally, because honestly, it's not a question that I really enjoy answering. July 7th, 2012 is what I would describe as one of the best, worst days of my life, as odd as that sounds. Up to that point, at that time in my life, I was about 26 years old, I had two passions in my life. One of those passions was my career. I worked as an ICU nurse at Barnes Jewish Hospital. I'd been doing that for about 5 years. And it was definitely something that I took very seriously and was dedicated to at that time in my life and for all those years. My second passion in life, though, was being a natural bodybuilder. It sounds really crazy and odd, especially today, sitting here talking about that in a habit, in a collar. But it's true. I loved being a natural bodybuilder. I loved working out, and I loved going to the gym. In fact, I would often tell people that bodybuilding was my true career, my true profession, and my job as a nurse just funded that. I got into bodybuilding, into weightlifting through one of my cousins, Ethan Steinacher. He had been competing for a while. I moved in with him about 2010 for a couple of years, and I got to see how every day he was committed and how disciplined he was in the entirety of his life, but especially how he approached working out and how seriously he took his fitness in being a bodybuilder. And as I watched him, and especially as I watched him win his very first show, I thought to myself, like, I wonder if I can do that. And not just wondered, but I believed I could do that as well. And so soon after that, I too started going to the gym. Instead of getting on the treadmill and running and doing a lot of cardio in those days, I started lifting weights. And what I began to see was that at that time, I didn't really know it and I wouldn't call it this, but God had given me a gift. He had given me a gift of discipline. He had given me a gift of dedication to be able to really grow in that sport and in that discipline of my life. And so I pursued it wholeheartedly with the passion along with my cousin. So getting back to July 7th of 2012, it was the best, worst day of my life because it was my last time competing as a natural bodybuilder. And it should have been like a good day, a happy day for me. I woke up that morning, went to that show. I was in the best shape of my life. I had achieved something that not just everyone could achieve. But when I looked in the mirror that day, and when I walked on stage, I was unhappy because when I saw myself, I didn't see perfection. I saw every little imperfection in my body, in my physique, and it left me very disappointed, very deflated. I was also disappointed that day because I'd had a new happiness come into my life, a new desire, a new thought of fulfillment that was unlike any other desire, happiness, or thought of fulfillment that I'd ever experienced at that time in life. A few months prior to that day, that Saturday on July 7th, I woke up one day with the desire to become a priest. It wasn't the first time that I had experienced this desire and had these thoughts, but it was for the first time in my life, it never left. And for 2 months, every day I woke up and that desire to become a priest was there. And it became something more. It became a reality, a belief. And it became more intense each and every day. So much to the point where I had considered quitting, not even continuing to work out to go to this show. And if it wasn't for Ethan, I would have given up. But he encouraged me to continue to do this, to see this through and compete that day, and so I did. But I wasn't happy that day because I knew that I wasn't going to get to go to Mass. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pray, to spend time before Christ in the tabernacle where he is present in the Eucharist. And to me, that was worse than having to be at that auditorium in downtown St. Louis. At the end of that day, I walked off stage. I took 4th place in this show, my last bodybuilding show, out of 12 or 13 competitors. And everything that I had been working for was placed in my hands. Like Ethan's whole desire was to become a professional natural bodybuilder, and slowly that became one of my desires as well. It's something I wanted to do for the next 10, 15 years of my life, and I believed I could do it. Like I had the gift to be able to do that. When I walked off stage, very upset, disappointed, and mad at my 4th place finish, a woman called me over. And I recognized her because she was one of the judges for the show. In fact, she was the center judge out of the 5. And sitting next to her was a man I recognized too. He was the president of this bodybuilding organization that we competed in. And they called me over, and I went over and had a conversation with them. And in the course of that conversation, they told me all the good things they saw in me and how I too had the potential to become a professional bodybuilder. They saw that in me, in my physique. And actually, the president, this guy, he handed me his business card and said, I want you to contact me. Here's my email, here's my phone number. And I want to work with you personally and set you up with my friends who can work with you. And in less than 3 years, you will become a pro bodybuilder. We see that in you. We believe in you. I had what I thought for like 3 or 4 years of my life, everything that I wanted, what I thought was going to bring me happiness. But what they didn't know was that a new happiness, a new desire, a new fulfillment had overtaken my life. The desire, the thought, the idea, the hope of fulfillment in the priesthood. And that was greater than any desire that being a bodybuilder or being a nurse or any other earthly happiness could give me at that time in life. I saw how I was basing my desire and thought of happiness and perfection, really perfection, on the opinion of others, the opinions of judges. But what I needed and what ultimately was most important was pursuing perfection and happiness in our Lord, Jesus Christ. I thanked them for their kind words. I took the card and I put it in my gym bag and I never pulled it out. I never called, I never emailed. I never competed again because the desire for priesthood had become a reality. And that was a desire that trumped any other desire in my life at that time.